It's the 13th of May 2026. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news for tonight, I am Jaima Ratnaika.
And I'm Umitra Bekun. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Heavy rainfall expected to continue for 2 more days, disrupting daily life in several areas. India more than doubles import duties on gold and silver. Fuel import costs increase 6-fold, says President. Harsha De Silva says ready for any challenge, signals future leadership of centre-right camp. China rolls out the red carpet in Pomp-filled airport welcome for Trump.
This is extreme weather.
On to your top story for tonight. Continuous rainfall has been sweeping across most parts of the island over the past 24 hours, bringing sustained showers to several regions. The prolonged downpour has already begun to impact daily life, disrupting routine activities in many areas.
Yes, Jaima, now amidst these conditions, questions are now being raised over the prevailing weather pattern affecting the country and whether similar rainfall can be expected to continue into tomorrow. For further insight into the current situation and the forecast ahead, we now turn to Martin.
Good evening, Jaima and Umitra. The Department of Meteorology says has issued an advisory warning of heavy rainfall across several parts of the country. According to the advisory, some areas in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces, as well as in the district of Puntland, Galle and Mathura, may experience rainfall exceeding 200 millimeters. The department further stated that certain areas in the northern and north-central provinces, along with the districts of Trincomalee and Kurunegala, could receive around 100 millimeters of rainfall. The department has also urged the public to take necessary precautions against strong winds and lightning that may accompany thunder showers. The Director General of the Department of Meteorology elaborated on this matter further.
Intermittent showers or thunder showers are expected during the morning hours in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces, as well as in the north central and northern provinces, and in districts such as Trincomalee, Galle and Mathura. Skies over these areas may remain heavily clouded. In other parts of the island, showers or thunder showers are likely to occur at several places during the evening or night. We expect fairly heavy rainfall in areas including the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and districts such as Puntland, Galle and Mathura, where some locations may receive over 200 millimeters of rain. Rainfall conditions will vary over the next few days. However, we know that around the 24th, 25th and 26th May, the southwest monsoon season affecting the island is expected to set in.
Landslide warnings have been issued for 8 districts. According to the National Building Research Organisation, these warnings are in effect for the districts of Badulla, Kalutara, Kandy, Kegol, Kurunegala, Mathale, Monaragala and Ratnapura. In Badulla district, the warning applies to the Passara and Bandarwala Divisional Secretariat divisions, while in Kalutara district, it covers the Valalavita division. In Kandy district, alerts have been issued for the Divisional Secretariat divisions of Udupalata, Pathahewa Hatta, Yatinura, Gangahila Korale, Akurana, Gangavata Korale, Doluwa, Pasbagi Korale and Panvila. In Kegol district, the warnings cover Aranayaka, Rambukkana, Mavanella, Kegol, Bulatkopitia and Yatyanthota. Landslide warnings are also in effect for Ridigama in Kurunegala district and for Naula, Abaganga Korale and Rattota in Mathale district. In Monaragala district, Velavaya and Batalkumbura are under alert, while in Ratnapura district, warnings apply to Ratnapura, Kalavana and Godakavela Divisional Secretariat divisions. During the 24-hour period ending at 6:30 a.m. today, the highest rainfall was recorded in Casbava. The recorded amount was 204 millimeters. Rainfall totals of 145.5 millimeters were recorded in Veyangoda, 121 millimeters in Gilimale, and 105.2 millimeters in Vatupitivala. The Colombo city and its suburbs also experienced rainfall since early this morning. The road near the Dehivala Mount Lavinia Municipal Council was submerged, while conditions in several areas within the Panadura Divisional Secretariat are as follows. Heavy rainfall disrupted vehicular movement in the Hill Street, Bothwat area of Kalatara. Several areas in Putlam town are completely inundated. Our correspondents state that heavy rainfall since last night has caused low-lying areas in Ambalangoda, Batapola, Alutwala and Bandegama to be inundated. Following rainfall in Nellore, Kavalama, Hiniduma, Udugama and Mapalagama, the Malayala in Mapalagama is overflowing. Flooding at the Bombula junction in Kaltara has disrupted traffic movement. With continued heavy rainfall, low-lying areas in Gale Dadugoda and Kalupana in Horana are experiencing flooding. Rainfall in Galen Binduru River has inundated a number of houses in the area. 2 spill gates of the Kalaweva Reservoir were opened by 2 feet each this morning. Several areas in Mihintale town were also inundated. A body was discovered this afternoon on the banks of the Maha Oya in the Kontalahela area of Bandaravela. Police suspect the individual may have been swept away by strong currents due to overflowing waters. The deceased is a 65-year-old resident of Badalugastana, Bandaravela. The Department of Irrigation states that 16 major reservoirs and 17 medium-scale reservoirs under its control are currently spilling. At the Ibankatu Reservoir in Dambulla, 2 spill gates have been opened, releasing water into the Dambulla Oya. 2 spill gates of the Angamu Reservoir are also open. 8 spill gates of the Rajangani Reservoir have been opened, discharging 9,388 cubic feet of water per second into the Kala Oya. 1 spill gate of the Kukle Ganga Reservoir was opened today, releasing water into the Maguru Ganga. 4 spill gates of the Nachadua Reservoir have also been opened. Water levels of the Ginganga are currently rising in the Mapalagama area due to the continued rainfall. The Badegama Gorge level stood at 2.40 meters as of this morning.
This is extreme weather.
Amid mounting economic pressure triggered by escalating conflict in the Middle East, including rising energy prices, India has moved to protect its currency by sharply increasing import duties on gold and silver to more than double previous rates. The decision comes just days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi outlined a series of measures aimed at conserving energy and foreign exchange.
These included proposals to halt gold purchases for 1 year, restrict foreign travel and reduce fuel consumption by encouraging the use of public transport.
India imported gold worth $72 billion in the financial year ending the 31st of March, placing significant strain on its foreign exchange reserves. Against this backdrop, Prime Minister Modi recently urged the public to refrain from purchasing gold for a year. Moving beyond that appeal, the government today raised import duties on gold and silver from 6% to 15%. Since the end of February, when the United States and Israel began airstrikes on Iran, the Indian rupee has depreciated by 5% against the US dollar. According to foreign reports, despite multiple interventions by the Reserve Bank of India, the currency is now trading below 95.5 rupees per US dollar. Within the first month of the conflict, India's foreign exchange reserves fell by $40 billion. Reuters reported that if the Iran crisis continues, India's heavy dependence on oil imports could leave its currency particularly vulnerable among emerging markets. India imports approximately 90% of its oil requirements and about 50% of its gas needs. Economists indicate that managing the current account in a credible manner, ensuring adequate financing and preventing further currency depreciation are among India's key challenges this year. In addition to pressure on the current account, record levels of capital outflows have also weighed on the capital account. Since the onset of the Middle East conflict, foreign investors have withdrawn more than $20 billion from Indian equities.
Back to news from here at home. President Anukumara Dissanayake says the cost of importing fuel has increased nearly sixfold compared to February, highlighting the growing economic strain caused by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. He made these remarks while addressing the Nuwara District Coordination Committee meeting.
මැද පෙරදිග කලාපයේ ඇති වී තිබෙන යුද්ධමය තත්ත්වය නිසා යම් ආර්ථික අභියෝග කීපයක් අපිට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. උදාහරණයකට කිව්වොත්
Due to the war situation in the Middle East region, we are facing several economic challenges. For example, in February, we spent $98 million on fuel imports. In March, that rose to about $216 million. In April, it increased to $368 million. For May, based on current estimates, we expect the cost to reach $522 million. When compared with February, the cost we bear for fuel imports has increased by nearly 6 times. So, we have had to manage the economy under considerable pressure. If you look at fuel, we know that according to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, the cost of a litre of diesel is now around 720 rupees. However, we are providing a litre of diesel at 392 rupees. When we supply it at that price, the government bears a subsidy of about 100 rupees per litre. This means the corporation receives about 492 rupees, but even at that level, it incurs substantial losses. Addressing those losses is also necessary. Due to the lack of proper management in the past, a significant loss, about 84 billion rupees, has been transferred to the Treasury, and the Treasury is handling those debt repayments. Therefore, these institutions cannot continue to operate inefficiently and incur further losses, as that would again become a burden on the Treasury. If we consider electricity bills, the increase in production cost due to fuel has had an impact. We have attempted to provide some relief. Although electricity tariffs increased by 18% this time, we structured it so that 95% of consumers would not feel the impact. Only about 5% of users are affected by the increase. Our aim is to ensure that the general public is not heavily burdened. However, we cannot continue indefinitely to finance the Petroleum Corporation and the Electricity Board through Treasury funds. Therefore, these institutions must become efficient while ensuring that the public receives benefits. It is within all these constraints that we are working.
එනිසා ඒවා කාර්යක්ෂම කරගන්නත් ඕන නේද? ඒවා ජනතාවට ප්‍රතිලාභ ලැබෙන ආකාරයෙන් ඒ වගේ අනිත් දේවල් අපි කළමනාකරණය කරගන්නත් ඕන. ඉතින් මේ ඔක්කොම මැදදී තමයි වැඩ කරමින් ඉන්නේ.
The president also revealed the progress of rehabilitation efforts following disaster situations, including reconstruction of damaged properties and the resettlement of displaced families during the same district coordination meeting.
Samagi Janabalawege MP Dr. Harsha De Silva has stressed that he is ready to take on any challenge for the country when necessary, while asserting that Sri Lanka needs a new era. In a Facebook post, he stated that his political journey will inevitably move forward towards one day providing leadership to the centre-right political camp.
Dr. Harsha De Silva, who is currently overseas, shared this Facebook post last night. In the post, he noted that certain individuals are attempting to push him out of the centre-right camp. However, he emphasized that such efforts will never succeed.
No one in my family is involved in politics. At a young age, I developed a deep concern for my country. I believed that my country too must one day become a developed nation and that I must dedicate myself to that goal. That is what pushed me into politics. Even today, that feeling remains unchanged. I work towards fulfilling that hope one day. Therefore, I do not make political decisions based on narrow political gains.
Responding to speculation that he may join the government, Dr. Harsha De Silva said such claims indicate an attempt by certain groups to create divisions within the Samagi Janabalawege.
This government has failed. It is clear that this government lacks a forward-looking economic vision. With narrow and inward-looking ideas, this government cannot rebuild the country. This will become even clearer in the future. I am not joining this government. I have never had any such discussions. These claims show that certain groups are trying to create issues within the Samagi Janabalawege. I will intensify my opposition to this government in the future in order to build a prosperous and economically strong Sri Lanka, not by opposing everything, but by promoting a mature political culture that supports what is right.
Dr. Harsha De Silva concluded his post by reiterating that he is prepared to take on any responsibility or challenge for the country when required. He is currently visiting the United States and before leaving the country on the 7th of May, also made remarks that stirred political discussion.
My politics is different. I have no problem calling something good if it is good and bad if it is bad. I believe that is the new politics, but some people cannot accept that. For example, as chairman of the Committee on Public Finance, I have always acted in a way that protects the dignity of that position. However, some try to misinterpret that.
Former Waligama mayor and ex-electorate organiser Rehan Jayavikrama, who has resigned from the Samagi Jana Balawega, has responded to Dr. Harsha De Silva's recent Facebook statement. He pointed out that the strongest criticism against Harsha De Silva is coming from within the party itself.
The strongest attacks against you are coming from certain groups within the party itself. There is no need to explain whose agenda that serves. It is obvious. That is the real situation. It is unfortunate and disappointing, but knowing all this is exactly why I choose to stand firm and step away from party politics. There are still many within the party who criticize Sajid Premadasa behind his back and bend as needed. I feel sorry for such individuals as they are in a position where they cannot even stand by their own views. One day this may become the majority view, but by then it could be too late. What Sri Lanka needs now is a different kind of opposition, one that does not oppose everything blindly, but can acknowledge what is good and criticize what is wrong. That is what people expect. May you have the strength and courage to make a decision in the interest of the people. At times, you may have to stand alone. Even Mangala Samaravira stepped out alone for his beliefs. That is what fearless politics means.
Journalists today raised questions with Samagi Jana Balawega Deputy General Secretary Mujibur Rahman regarding MP Harsha De Silva. Here is his response.
මොකක් පණිවිඩේ? ඒ ප්‍රකාශ කළා තියෙනවා මේ බාරදුර කාර්යවල දෙකදී අපි මේක පාර ගන්න ලෑස්ති. ඒ වගේම ආව මේ කඳවුරින් වත් කරන කුමන්ත්‍රණයකුත් තියෙනවා. මේ වැඩි ප්‍රචාර ප්‍රකාශ වෙනවා කියලා. මොකද දැක්කද නේ? මම දැක්කා ඒක එතුමා සම්බන්ධව මේ සමාජ මාධ්‍යවල යන දේවල් සම්බන්ධව එතුමා උත්තරයක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක හරි ඉතින් එතුමා දීපු උත්තරේ. සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ දාලා යන්නේ නැහැ එතුමා. ඉතින් සමගි ජනතා බලය දාලා එහෙම යන්න තරම් ප්‍රශ්නයකුත් නැහැ. මං හිතන්නේ නැහැ එහෙම අවශ්‍යතාවයකුත් එතුමාට තියෙනවායි කියලා. ඉතින් මම දන්න විදියට නම් ඉතින් එහෙම එකකුත් නැහැ. මම දැක්ක එතුමාත් ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරලා තියෙනවා නේද? එහෙම එකක් නැහැයි කියලා.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Namal Rajapaksa, says he is not afraid of investigations and is prepared to face them. He made these remarks while addressing a public meeting held in the Casbava electorate yesterday.
They called former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The government thought something about him. We went because we have no issue. If they call us, we go. If they summon us, we go because we have nothing to hide. We have worked. We have developed the country. We have helped the people. But the JVP once staged dramas about stolen Lamborghinis and golden horses and were slinging mud at us. To cover those up, they bring us in for questioning. We are not afraid of that. We go and face it. But this government is engaged in low-level politics to the extent of fabricating false evidence and even pushing another individual to lose his life. We will build politics that suit your children's generation. We will create economic, social and political policies that fit the next generation. Today, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has transformed into a party that is suited for that.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando, who was released on bail a few weeks ago after being held in remand custody, also addressed the meeting. He had been remanded over charges related to the misuse of public property.
Who can provide leadership? Who can lead the new generation in addressing issues such as jobs, economic challenges and the burden of taxes on the people? Who should be the next leader? Namal, not just in this village, even in prison they say so. Even in prison they say the next president will be Namal Rajapaksa. Even there, when news comes, they say he is the next one. Now, is this something we created? If Namal Rajapaksa is incapable, if he cannot win an election, why are they attacking him? They know this is where the real challenge lies.
The Administrative Appeals Tribunal has determined that Criminal Investigation Department Director, Senior Superintendent of Police, Shani Abesekara, has met the required qualifications to be appointed as a Deputy Inspector General of Police. The decision was delivered after considering an appeal filed by Abesekara.
The appeal was heard before a panel of the Administrative Appeals Tribunal comprising former Supreme Court Justice K.T. Chitrasiri, High Court Judge Srinathi Nandasena and former Ministry Secretary J.J. Ratnasiri. The tribunal's decision is to be submitted to the National Police Commission. According to the ruling, it would be possible to promote Shani Abesekara to the position of Deputy Inspector General of Police with effect from the 25th August 2020.
In more news from here at home, 3 individuals produced in connection with providing bail sureties on behalf of late Sri Lankan Airlines former executive Kapila Chandrasena or executive CEO Kapila Chandrasena have been further remanded until the 20th of May by Colombo Additional Magistrate Lahiru Silva.
The suspects Muhammad Rizwan, Muhammad Irshan and Aryatissa De Silva, all residents of Sanchiarachi Garden near the Halsdorf Court Complex, were arrested by the Keselwatta police. Presenting a progress report to court, police stated that statements had been recorded from the Grama Niladari who issued the residency certificates submitted by the first and second suspects when appearing as sureties. Investigations revealed that the first suspect had obtained 10 residency certificates between January and May this year, while the second suspect had secured 7 such certificates during the same period. Police informed court that these documents had been used to confirm residency and were submitted as part of the bail process. Further inquiries have indicated that the first and second suspects have been involved in this bail surety process over a period of time. Police also disclosed that the suspects are not relatives of Kapila Chandrasena and were not personally acquainted with him. Meanwhile, investigators noted that the individual who acted as the intermediary in arranging the bail sureties has since died and a final determination regarding that death has not yet been made. Investigations into the overall incident are ongoing. Authorities informed court that they oppose granting bail to the suspects at this stage due to the ongoing nature of the investigations. After considering the submissions, the magistrate directed that a report outlining the charges against each suspect be submitted to court in the coming days. The court also ordered that the fourth suspect, Perumal Ganesh, be produced for an identification parade.
In a move aimed at strengthening ties between Sri Lanka and Macau, particularly in the field of tourism promotion, the TDM Media Network of Macau and the Maharaja Media Network signed a memorandum of understanding today.
The agreement was signed in Macau on the sidelines of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union or ABU Administrative Council meetings.
The Memorandum of Understanding was signed by the Group Director of the Maharaja Media Network, Shevan Daniel, and Executive Committee Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors of TDM Media Network, Lo Song Man Lorman. Suranga Jailat, Group Director Legal of the Capital Maharaja Group, was also present at the signing. Macau, a special administrative region of China, has an economy largely driven by the tourism industry. TDM, Macau's public broadcaster, operates 5 television channels, 2 radio stations, websites and multimedia platforms reaching audiences across Asia Pacific and beyond. Its content is broadcast globally in Cantonese, Mandarin, English and Portuguese. Speaking after the signing ceremony, CMG Group Director Shevan Daniel said that the partnership has the potential to play a significant role in further boosting Sri Lanka's tourism industry through strong engagement with Macau and China. He added that he hopes to promote Sri Lanka's culture and heritage to Macau and Chinese audiences through the Beautiful Sri Lanka segment. The agreement marks a significant milestone in strengthening cooperation between 2 leading media institutions in the Asia-Pacific region. It is also expected to promote stronger cultural, media and people-to-people ties between Sri Lanka and Macau. Under the MOU, the Maharaja Media Network and TDM Macau will work together on program exchanges, media collaboration, cultural initiatives, professional engagement and regional broadcasting partnerships. As active members of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, both institutions expressed confidence that the partnership would further strengthen media relations, deepen mutual understanding and create new opportunities for regional cooperation.
And with that, today on beautiful Sri Lanka, we take you on a journey to the misty heights of Kalupahana to witness a masterpiece carved by time itself. Let's lose ourselves in the breathtaking majesty of the Bombarakanda on today's edition of Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Cascading from a height of 863 feet, this shimmering silver veil kisses the rugged granite cliffs. In a display of sheer magnificence. As this mighty volume of water cascades freely, it speaks to the world of nature's majestic power. The journey to find Bombarakanda through the scent of pine forests and the melody of birdsong. Breathes new life into your heart. It's a grand masterpiece sculptured by nature itself.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, has clarified the institution's role as the government's banker, stating that the central bank operates strictly on instructions when handling public debt payments. Explaining the bank's core function, the governor said that the CBSL acts as a quote-unquote banker to the government, similar to how a commercial bank serves its clients.
No, first point I want to make is that this is the central bank role is the banker to the government. In the debt service payments of the government, central bank is a banker to the government, like banker to the bank and banker to the government. Central bank would not deal with any individual customers. Those are two customers we are dealing with. Like any other bank, the bank is given instruction to make a payment to another account by the client. Our responsibility is to deliver that order and make sure that instructions are taken and make the payment and charge, debit the account of the account holder. That's just in simple terms, that is our role, banker to the government. That's what we have been doing. And in addition, what we have been doing before PDMO was set up, we have public debt department, which was the debt management office. We, Central Bank, did as agency function. On behalf of the government, we did the agency function for public management. In that process, there's one step went beyond that. Like when instruction given by the client, still instruction should come from the account holder, the client, the government, Minister of Finance. It was coming earlier through public debt department. The public debt department had we had back office here, right? Back office function is this payment and settlement part. So back office function, we perform that back office function. So that's earlier. And now it has now moved into a PDMO. It was moved gradually from last year onwards. And they have been operating from our premises here sometime, and then after that they are now fully operational from there. This was a period that some disputes happened, but that was a process. But what happened in the midst of it, I don't think we should comment on that, because there's a lot of information, there's inquiries going on. There's a corporate meeting and the corporate report has been produced. And also I think there's a CID institution going on. A lot of things are going on. So this is the basic process of central bank responsibility as a banker to the government, and the Minister of Finance as a client whose debt is serviced using central bank resource, or their resource in our accounts maintained by us.
The inaugural Colombo Maritime Dialogue 2026, organized by the Center for China-South Asia Studies at the Sichuan University and the Pathfinder Foundation, was held in Colombo today.
The inaugural Colombo Maritime Dialogue 2026, organized by the Center for China-South Asia Studies at the Sichuan University and the Pathfinder Foundation, was held in Colombo. Speaking at the event, Chairman of the Pathfinder Foundation, Bernard Gunathilak, expressed his views on Sri Lanka's role in the Indian Ocean region.
The Indian Ocean belongs to no single power. It is shared maritime commons whose future must be shaped collectively through dialogue, adherence to international law and practical cooperation. Because of the geography and long maritime tradition, Sri Lanka is well placed to facilitate such exchanges. Today we hope Sri Lanka can once again serve as a platform for intercultural engagement among nations with differing perspectives but a shared interest in peace, prosperity and development across the Indian Ocean. It is our fervent hope that Indian Ocean should not become an arena of confrontation. It should in fact evolve into a zone of peace, cooperation, connectivity and shared development.
Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Chi Hong, emphasized that the ocean should not be an arena for major power contests, but a broad stage for mutual benefit and cooperation.
In recent years, under the strategic guidance of the leaders of our two countries, China-Sri Lanka Maritime cooperation has yielded fruitful results from port construction and shipping logistics to maritime economic development and disaster prevention and mitigation. Our practical cooperation has brought tangible benefits to our two peoples. But needless to say, the routine marine scientific research conducted by the two countries' scientists in Sri Lanka has been delayed due to various disruptions. Together, we are striving to build a maritime community with shared future and advance our ocean cooperation towards blue partnership. And at present, countries in the Indian Ocean region are generally committed to economic development, improving people's well-being, and enhancing connectivity. China has always supported the peace, stability, development, and prosperity of the Indian Ocean region. We consistently advocate that the ocean should not be an arena for major power contest, but a broad stage for mutual benefit and cooperation, and maintains that Indian Ocean should become an ocean of peace, development, openness, and cooperation.
Bringing together scholars, policymakers and experts from China, India and across the Indian Ocean, the discussion is a critical push for regional stability amid alarming geopolitical turbulence.
Australian High Commissioner Matthew Duckworth met Northern Province Governor Nagalingam Vedanayagan in Kilinochchi today. The Northern Province Governor's Office issued a statement noting that agriculture, fisheries, land rights and investment opportunities in the Northern Province were discussed during the meeting. It further stated that future development projects which could be implemented with the financial contribution of the Australian government were also discussed in detail. The statement highlighted that even though many years have passed since the end of the war, the issue of civilian lands in the north that remain unreleased was also examined. During the meeting, views were exchanged regarding the progress of mechanisms to release lands currently held by the Department of Forest Conservation and the Department of Wildlife Conservation. The report mentioned that the Australian High Commissioner also inquired about the new project launched under the sponsorship of the United Nations to find solutions for land-related issues. The statement further pointed out that the Australian High Commissioner expressed his government's commitment to providing continuous support for the Northern Province through the Governance for Growth project, which is implemented with $4 million grant to enhance the administrative capacities of local authorities.
US President Donald Trump arrived in China this evening for a two-day state visit at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Regarded as the first state visit by a US president in almost 9 years, the two countries face an opportunity to explore the building of a strategic, constructive and stable China-US relationship.
Yes, Jaimal, we have Tina Tilakaratna bringing us the developments on this story and other stories from around the world today.
Well, thank you, Jamal, and thank you, Mitra. As you guys said, US President Donald Trump, marking the first visit by a US president to China in nearly a decade, arrived in Beijing today for a high-profile visit aimed at securing economic gains and strengthening trade ties, accompanied by a delegation of business leaders. Now, according to Trump, the discussions will focus on trade, where he would urge his Chinese counterpart to quote-unquote, open up the Chinese market to American businesses. The two leaders are scheduled to hold talks on the 14th and 15th of May in Beijing, with discussions expected to cover technology and broader geopolitical issues as well. Now let's take a look at more details of this story.
Before departing for Beijing, Trump said he and Xi would have a long talk about Iran, although he stressed that trade would remain the central focus of the visit.
I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot of things to discuss. I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. So one way or the other, we win. We're going to be talking with President Xi about a lot of different things. I would say more than anything else will be trade.
The US president arrived in Beijing on board Air Force One to a brass band playing and flag wavers performing a routine while chanting as he got into his presidential vehicle. The leaders of the world's two largest economies are due to meet tomorrow and on Friday during Trump's first visit to China since 2017, with the talks expected to focus on trade, Taiwan, artificial intelligence and the war involving Iran. According to schedule, President Trump will attend a state banquet tomorrow and have a working lunch with Xi on Friday before returning to the US. The meetings will be the first face-to-face exchanges since the leaders of the world's two largest economies met on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Busan, South Korea in October 2025. It is the second time Trump will travel to China as president and the first time since his second term began on the 20th of January 2025. Xi is expected to visit the US later this year.
While the US president continues a high-stakes visit to China aimed at stabilizing economic and strategic ties between the world's two largest powers, attention is also turning towards New Delhi, where Iran's foreign minister has arrived in India to attend the BRICS foreign ministers meeting. This visit comes at a crucial moment for Tehran as regional tensions in the Middle East remain dangerously elevated. Here's more on this story and the latest developments coming from the Middle East.
Syed Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister of Iran, will travel to New Delhi to participate in the meeting of BRICS foreign ministers. During the trip, the foreign minister will take part in the BRICS foreign ministers meeting, which will be held on Thursday and Friday, the 14th and 15th of May, under India's chairmanship, focusing on regional stability, multilateral cooperation and economic resilience. He will also hold talks and exchange views with Subramaniam Jaishankar, India's foreign minister, as well as other ministers and officials attending the meeting. This meeting serves as a prelude to the 18th BRICS summit, which is scheduled to be held in September in New Delhi under India's presidency. Meanwhile, the International Energy Agency has projected global oil supply to drop by 3.9 million barrels per day throughout 2026 as a result of disruptions caused by the Middle East conflict. The agency also expects global oil demand to fall by 420,000 BPD this year, but that is far outpaced by the expected loss in supply. Crude oil prices dipped on Wednesday, snapping a 3-day rise as the markets watched for news on the shaky ceasefire in the US-Israel war on Iran. Brent crude futures had dropped 82 cents to $106.95 per barrel. Meanwhile, US West Texas Intermediate crude fell 66 cents to reach $101.52.
Gunshots have been heard in the Philippine Senate building following a chaotic attempt earlier this week to arrest a senator wanted by the International Criminal Court. Now it is unclear who fired the shots in the incident.
More than a dozen gunshots rang out at the Philippine Senate as police and Marines moved in to arrest a senator wanted by the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes against humanity. Journalists ran for cover as gunfire erupted minutes after soldiers with rifles and protective gear went up the stairs of the legislative building. It was not immediately clear who fired the shots. Philippine Senator Ronald de la Rosa had earlier said he was anticipating his arrest, urging people to come to the legislature to prevent him from being detained and sent to the ICC. Former police chief de la Rosa, who was the top enforcer of ex-President Rodrigo Duterte's so-called war on drugs, urged President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. yesterday not to hand him over to the ICC, adding that he was ready to face justice at home. Fearing arrest and hunkered down in his legislative office, de la Rosa said he had faithfully served his country.
Thalapathy Vijay is safe for now. The superstar actor who upended Tamil Nadu politics by leading his TVK party to victory in last month's election, breaking the DMK and AIADMK's 62-year stranglehold on the state's political landscape, was confirmed as the new chief minister after winning a dramatic trust vote. Here's how it unfolded.
Vijay was backed by 144 lawmakers, while 22 stood against and 5 sat on the fence. This was after the Dravida Munnetra Kalagam and its 59 MLAs walked out, and the All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kalagam's 47 were told to vote against. The trust vote was required since the TVK did not have a majority after results were announced on the 4th of May. Vijay's party swept 108 of 234 seats, an incredible return for a young party in a state driven by a political binary, but 10 short of the mark. The TVK quickly received support from the Congress, 5 seats, and after 4 days of bargaining and suspense, secured 8 more seats from the Left Front, the VCK and the Indian Union Muslim League. The TVK had 105 MLAs. The party lost 1 vote to the Speaker's chair, a second because Vijay resigned from one of the 2 seats he won, and a third because Srinivasa Sedupati R's 1 vote victory from Tirupattur has been challenged. All 105, however, turned up and voted for Vijay. Allies providing outside support. The Congress, the CPI, CPM, VCK and IUML had offered 13 seats between them and delivered on that promise. A 14th vote came from the TTV Dinakaran-led Amma Makkal Munnetra Kalagam's sole MLA. Allied votes, therefore, gave the TVK 119, a wafer-thin margin of victory. The boost was from the ADMK's 24 lawmakers. At the other end of the vote, the 17 ADMK MLAs still in Palaniswamy's camp voted against Vijay, while 4 from the Pattali Makkal Kachi, part of the BJP-led alliance, and the BJP's own lone MLA took up a neutral position. The vote has been settled, but the bigger story is the split within the ADMK camp. So 24 ADMK MLAs voted for Vijay and a 25th abstained, underlining a rift that threatens to tear one of the state's 2 big Dravidian giants apart.
World News.
For the latest on the sports arena, we now cross over to Martin once again. Martin, what do you have for us tonight?
Yes, Jama. The heavy rainfall experienced today disrupted several major domestic sporting events that were scheduled to take place today. Due to the prevailing rainy weather conditions, Sri Lanka cricket has decided to postpone all domestic cricket tournaments, including the Interclub T20 tournament that was set to begin today. Meanwhile, the first day of the athletic trials, scheduled to be held at the Diyagama Mahinda Rajapaksa Stadium, was also affected. However, the international sporting arena remains active and exciting. Let's now turn to some highlights from the world of international sports.
World number 1 tennis player Italy's Yannick Sinner has advanced to the quarterfinals of the men's singles at this year's Italian Open. He secured his place after defeating Italy's Andrea Pellegrino in straight sets 2-0. Meanwhile, in the women's singles at the same tournament, the United States Coco Gauff has advanced to the semi-finals of the 2026 event. In the quarterfinals, she defeated Russia's Mira Andreeva. Coco Gauff won the match 2-1 to book her place in the next round. The tournament is being held in Rome, Italy. A 15-member Australian squad has been announced for the 2026 ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Sophie Molyneux has been named captain of the side. The 2026 Women's T20 World Cup, hosted by England, will begin on the 12th of June.
They're driving this group.
Still within 10 seconds of
Ecuador's Jonathan Naves has won the fourth stage of the 2026 Giro d'Italia cycling race. He delivered a time of 3 hours, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The 109th edition of the Giro d'Italia began in Bulgaria on the 8th of this month and is scheduled to conclude in Rome, Italy on the 31st.
Can Jonathan Narvaez putting a smile back on UAE Emirates.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.